Digitone II is a wild instrument. It's not a normal instrument. It's more like a creative arena. And inside that arena, all things are possible. But practicing for an instrument like that is so much different than like a guitar. With a guitar, you could practice your scales. How do you put in your reps with the Digitone II? Well, that's what I'm going to show you today. We're going to make a game out of the creative process. We're going to roll the dice. The dice are going to tell us what types of sounds to use for each individual element of the song, and it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get into it. I want to start with a lead sound. So there's 6 options for lead: plucky, screaming, soft, classic subtractive, bell, and bendy. All right, we got bendy. Let's go ahead and pick a scale. That way we can make it easier on ourselves. As far as picking which one, I'm just gonna close my eyes, find out what we get. Pentatonic minor. Let's give some color to it. I'm interpreting bendy as movement. It doesn't have to be pitch. It just needs to be wiggly, right? So we can do that. Let's go ahead and mess with our pitch a bit, but we're going to be subtle about it because we don't want it to stray too far. Just dial in a little bit. Generally, I'd say if you're going to apply LFO to the pitch of your sound across, the pitch of all the operators, carriers, etc., you want to mostly stay within, I'd say 0.15 or somewhere between 0 and 0.15, either positive or negative. 0.07 is probably the most subtle one, but you can push it a little further depending on what speed you are. If you're going really fast, then you can take it a lot further. Oh my God, that's the most bendy sound I've ever heard in my life. If it's going faster and it's being held on sustain, then we can do a lot more pitch bend because it's wiggling so much that our brain kind of averages out as far as where the note is, and it's hovering around that center enough that we can kind of catch that. But if it's a slow pitch bend, like if you're really trying to just put some drift into it, a little bit of subtlety goes a long way. Play around with our ratios a bit. I want to go ahead and put it on one voice so that the sounds don't really step over each other. You know what? We don't really need to overthink this. What was that tempo? 1, 2, 3, 4. I love it. That is a bendy lead right there. All right, next up, the types of bass we can use are plucky, textural, soft, sludgy, aggressive, and high energy. All right, let's roll the dice. Let's find out. 3. Soft. Soft? Okay, I bet, soft would probably go well with this, since a nice soft bass can kind of be like a bed for all this frilliness to kind of just rest on and create a more satisfying, fuller picture. Let's just dial in a little bit of modulation. Let's put the mix over. I like that. There's just enough color there so that it's not supremely soft. We could even dial in a little bit of feedback. Let's put a little bit of modulation on that feedback so that it travels a tiny fraction whenever we hit our note. And let's put it on one-shot mode, half strength. So this shape right here will allow you to increase the amount. We could mess with these ratios a little bit. You know what? That's not bad. Now let's try to record something. Okay, looks like there's no notes at all holding over this last section. So we're gonna shorten this beat so that this is the final note, or should I say this will become where the loop repeats. We are on the 7th out of 8 pages of 16-step notes per page. So that would mean 16 plus 4. We need to take 20 steps out of this sequence. So 128 is our number. We're gonna put it at 108. Okay, that sounds smooth to my ear. That sounds like a nice cycle, but it's also occurring maybe when a normal cycle wouldn't end, but it feels naturally up and down. I think this needs another lead over it, so let's roll the dice and see what a second lead would be. Rolling the dice. Number 3. It keeps giving me the ones I want. I don't know why. So we're gonna make a soft, elegant lead to go over this. I think that's perfect. Something that kind of soars above everything and kind of ties it together while giving a nice layer of icing across the cake. But it can't just be a sine wave. We need, first of all, okay, let's set up our attack time to be kind of long. Let's set up our release time to be long. Let's turn on our portamento so that the notes will slide back and forth between each other. Let's just mess around with these ratios, just kind of get things moving, increase some modulation level. Let's pick an algorithm. Okay, algorithm 6. That's not a bad place to start from. It's a little harsh, so. All right, we need to soften this a little bit though. And paradoxically, I want to add some feedback. But let's put a little filter on it. All right, pull this down. We're gonna make the filter travel a bit through our envelope depth. Let's play around with our key tracking. I like how much release there is. We'll see how it sounds once we add it across the other elements. I think it could use a little more character. You know what? Let's use the LFO to mess with the waveform. All right, harmonics. We're going to put a little bit of depth on it and just let it ride, see what happens. We need a very, very slow speed. And let's go ahead and put a little sample rate reduction on it. If you just use a tiny bit of sample rate reduction, it really kind of helps take off some of that edge that comes from FM synthesis in the digital realm. So our harmonics are moving around, but to be frank, this is not very interesting. Let's try one-shot mode so that we know where we're coming from each hit. And let's turn off the portamento for now because I think that's getting in the way of me hearing what I need to hear. we need to add our secret ingredient, which is, of course, pitch modulation. Let's mess with pitch A and B2 to see how that sounds. Like, will it give us a different result? This is a very fast LFO. These operators being out of tune is creating these kind of disruptive, turbulent frequency clashes. So if we dial it in just a tiny bit, let's see what happens. Versus a lot. All right, and then now for fun, let's mess with the pitch of everything and just give it a little bit of wibble and wobble. All right, let's make it nice and slow and just start pushing this a bit. Let's turn up the speed, see if we can get away with a little bit more. And let's go ahead and add our second filter to it. We're going to do post filter. So this is happening after this filter. We're just adding some low pass, taking off some of that cutting frequency action. Let's go ahead and put some delay on it. That's my jam right there. So simple, just a little motif to kind of pop up. Save it. All right, track 8. Back to our initial lead. We need to turn this down because it's cool, but it can't be the front and center. Something we could try. Let's shorten it to 14 steps. Maybe put a little bit of probability on it, so occasionally it'll drop out. So the order of kicks we have is punchy classic kick, 808 kick, snappy short kick, beefy kick, dirty aggressive kick, and metallic weirdo FM kick. Number 1. Punchy classic kick. Let's do FM drum. I really like making kicks on the FM drum. Let's go ahead and turn our note way down. Now let's dial in a transient. Okay, now we don't need this to sustain. We're gonna go here to the 3rd page and take that decay way down. But now we need to expand our hold because it's a nice, thick, beefy kick drum. And let's go ahead and try to ugly this up a little bit. Oof. Let's see what happens if we mess with this waveform a little bit. Oh, of course it didn't do anything because we haven't added any modulation. Let's go ahead and turn this into a sharp little envelope situation. So now it's only going to be FM modulating it for a very short amount of time, and it's going to drop rapidly, which is going to contribute to kind of the impact of our transient. Okay, that's a very usable kick right there. Oops, too many steps. Okay, need some overdrive. I think we could probably mess with this tuning a little bit. The punchiness of this kick is working for me, but I want to add some kind of subby emphasis. So let's just do the easy thing. We'll put it on high pass, up this resonance, and then we're going to just dial it in till we get somewhere where it sounds natural and it's being, you know, pushed by this resonant bump. Beautiful. Okay. You can turn it down a little bit. All right, that's a good start. So the types of snares we have are fat snare, snappy short snare, claps, whacked out snare, acoustic snare, metallic snare. Number 4, whacked out snare. Now we could just like play around with some crazy ratios and some offsets and throw some modulation in there and make a really crazy wild FM type snare, but I've done that so many times. I want to do something a little different by using the ring modulator. Now if you've never messed with ring modulation, it's when you take 2 oscillators, you sum them together, then you also find the difference between those 2 oscillators, those 2 signals, and you add that difference to that sum, which is kind of weird to imagine. Like, what does that even mean in a musical context? It just means we're going to make some really interesting tones and we're going to be able to manipulate our oscillators to create really surprising, unpredictable results, and it's going to be a lot of fun. The way it works is if you go to the second page, you have this mod section here. Just flip it once and now you're in ring mod mode. But since we're doing a snare sound, we actually want to go one more over to fixed ring mod. Now, what that means is oscillator 2 is now going to hold in place. No matter what notes I play on the keyboard, whatever we choose on here is going to be a fixed frequency. When we play the keys, we're only controlling oscillator 1. First of all, we want to turn down oscillator 2 so that we're only getting the ring modded output. And let's go ahead and give ourselves some more interesting wave shapes. Let's do sawtooth there, and let's do square here. Now, if we move this around, we get some real bonkers sounds. And we can do things like mess with our pulse width. Let's add some noise to this. Now, we have different types of noise. This is grain noise right now, but we can switch it to tuned noise, which I like. And I really love that we have this filter here for the noise itself. Oh, let's go ahead and turn off that. Let's lay down a trig. How does this sound on top of our kick? Okay, so now it makes sense as a snare, right? It just kind of sounded like a little weird metallic nightmare before. Let's mess with our amp a little bit. Do 0 attack. Now, we can modulate these different oscillators and get really interesting results. So let's go to our LFO. Okay, oscillator 1, and then we're gonna pick just your basic sawtooth shape, but we'll put it in one-shot mode. Now let's turn up the speed. Let's put it backwards so that the shape is different. Up. Okay, let's start dialing it in. That sounds sick right there. Now let's try messing with the other oscillator. Do the same thing. We'll do one-shot mode. Just dial in a little bit. Let's go real far just for fun. Woo! But we don't need a lot. Let's be really... I liked the sound as it was, so let's just make it really subtle. Now let's go ahead and add some sample rate reduction to it. Actually, you know what? Let's modulate the sample rate reduction. Let's find it down here on LFO 3. Sample rate, classic exponential wave shape. All right, what's it gonna sound like if it jumps up in sample rate and then rapidly falls back down? snare right there. Let's go ahead and save it. But you know what? Let's go back into our kick and try to take this note, the one that's underneath the snare, and kind of mold it, shape it to be contrasting more with the first kick, so we get more of like this back and forth. Let's first of all, let's move the note up. Okay, that's too intense now. Let's back it off. Let's try to clean it up. Let's pull down our overdrive. Let's mess with our hold time. Let's increase it a little bit. Let's go ahead and increase the volume a little bit on our, yeah. Now that's a whacked out snare. This needs a hi-hat. Let's get down and dirty on a hi-hat right now. Now the options for hi-hats are metallic hi-hat, washy open hi-hat, clicky short hi-hat, acoustic hi-hat, lo-fi hi-hat, and chunky. Okay, we got number 4, acoustic hi-hat. It's a tall order to try to make a realistic acoustic sounding hi-hat with an FM synth. You know, it just naturally drifts towards crazy, weird, metallic, unrealistic sounds, but we can rein it in. That's the beauty of Digitone II, is it has the tools we need to be subtle when we need to be subtle. We're gonna use FM Tone Machine. We're gonna use Algorithm 6. This has the most cross modulation between the operators and the carriers, which means we can get the most complex, interesting tones out of it. So I always keep that in mind. So first of all, let's go ahead and put this mix in the middle. Let's get zero attack, short decay, and let's have a little bit of sustain dialed in. And this release amount is going to determine a lot of the sound, but that's going to become important later. Let's go to the send page. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's go to the trig page. Let's turn our track length down, since this is going to determine the amount of time that we hold sustain. And let's go ahead and drop some trigs in. Let's go ahead and mute everything else. Ooh, that's the best hi-hat I've ever heard. Let's mess with our ratios. Okay, that sounds like metal getting struck by a wooden stick in my ears. Now, if we mess with our harmonics, it's gonna get real interesting. This is where the real tone control comes from. Because as you see, we get closer to the square, it gets a lot more noisy. Now, here are your 4 different offsets for your operator, carrier, etc. Go ahead and pull them out of tune. Pull 3 of them into the same general area. So I'm putting it around 250. And then take one of them and pull it way far away from the others. This hi-hat that I'm making right now is actually inspired by a hi-hat that Ivar Tritty made in one of his videos. Now, if you haven't heard of Ivar Tritty, forgive me, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it the right way, but he is a legendary Elektron Digitone YouTuber who's actually a big inspiration for me to make this channel. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't shout him out. This hi-hat is very much based on the advice that he gave in some of his videos. So check him out if you haven't. Let's get back to it. Now there's a lot of low end there, so let's go ahead and high pass it out, and then we'll put it back in with a very short envelope. Okay, of course, put some overdrive on it, and some sample rate. And just to kind of color it up a bit, get some movement, let's go ahead and mess with like the pitch of it. So we go to pitch all as our destination for LFO1, put it on the very back shape, the random shape, turn it to sample and hold, and just dial it in. Now, if we go back here to the amp page, when we open that release, it sounds like an open hi-hat rattling. So what I want to do is I want to modulate that. Let's go ahead and find it on LFO 2. So amp, release time. Then we're going to do random source. Go ahead and just turn it up so it's super fast. And we're going to do sample and hold again. All we need to do is dial in the tiniest amount, and it's just going to give a little bit of movement to it, a little bit of variability. Sounds great. Let's turn it down a bit. We don't need that one right there. And let's go ahead and parameter lock these ones to be yes. Beautiful. I want to copy this, put it right there, but then let's lower the probability so it doesn't play every single time. Okay, starting to groove. Now, if you remember, the bass is kind of on its own pattern. It's not normal 4/4 repeating, which is what I like about it. But I'm wondering if maybe we could switch up the drums to kind of follow it a little bit better. Start with track 5, that's our kick. We're gonna increase this to 112. And we'll drop it down to 104. So it ends, basically we have 6 pages and then half a page, and then it's gonna repeat. Okay, let's go ahead and mess with this a bit. Ooh, I like that. Do that every time. Okay, that could be smoother. Instead of having our snare hit there, we'll have it hit there. And it's gonna hit here now. And then, let's move this to right here. And we'll put our snare here. Okay. Now these hi-hats can get real interesting. Let's go ahead. I know what we can do. Okay. Let's take this and let's just add it to more spots. And then we'll do that again over here, but we're gonna put it right here. We're gonna do a retrig because we're gonna be expecting a snare here and we don't get one. So instead, let's do a change up rhythmically on the hi-hat. Put it at a couple beats. We'll do it at 24. And I want to go ahead and have it come in a little bit early. That's a really helpful way to use whenever you're doing the 3 against the 4 type patterns. Have them come in a little bit early, like that, so that you can kind of feel the roll. It kind of rolls into the notes as opposed to just like, you know, starting on the emphasis of it. And let's go ahead and make it late a little bit too. And then let's just throw in a bunch of notes here. And let's make this one super long. Okay. That grooves. like this. I like this a lot. What is it, like dubstep? I don't know. But if I heard this, I'd be grooving. Thank you for hanging out, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Also, I have a Patreon. On the Patreon, you can download the project file for this track and many more, and more to come. I hope to see you again. My name is Eddie T. Slumpfish. Peace out.